So when you picture the Amazon, you probably think of a gigantic river cutting through a super dense jungle. But what if I told you it's not just a river? I mean, some scientists literally call it a planet unto itself, a place of immense, almost unbelievable mystery. So let's dive into this incredible world and uncover some of its biggest secrets.
Okay, so right off the bat, the Amazon just refuses to play by the rules. As it makes its journey, it completely transforms. It changes its name, it changes its color, and sometimes, in the most bizarre twist, get this, even flows backward.
But honestly, that's nothing compared to its biggest secret. Deep, deep beneath the riverbed, totally hidden for thousands of years, scientists have found what they call a ghost river, a secret twin, flowing in total darkness. So, what is really going on in this incredible part of our world?
All right, to even begin to get our heads around these secrets, you have to understand the sheer scale of this place. We're talking planetary. Its size and power are just so immense they're genuinely hard to comprehend.
Early explorers and the people who live there had the perfect name for it, the River Sea. And it's not hard to see why, right? During the rainy season, this river can swell up to 48 kilometers wide. If you're standing on one bank, the other side is completely invisible. It's just gone, over the horizon. It literally feels like you're staring out at the ocean.
Okay, look at this number. This is just raw, mind-blowing power. Every single second. The Amazon is dumping around 209,000 cubic meters of fresh water into the Atlantic Ocean. To give you some context, that's way more water than the entire planet uses in that same second.
Think about it this way. The Amazon pumps out more fresh water than the next 7 biggest rivers on Earth combined. That means a full 20% of all the fresh water flowing into our oceans comes from this one single river. It's just staggering.
So you can imagine, a river this big is going to have some drama. And it starts with a question you'd think we'd have figured out by now. Is it actually the longest river in the world?
For pretty much our whole lives, right, the answer in every textbook was simple. The Nile was number one at about 6650 kilometers, with the Amazon coming in second. Case closed. Or is it? Because that simple fact has now sparked a huge debate.
See, that all changed when South American scientists used satellite tech to basically remap the whole thing. And what they found is that the real starting point of the Amazon is way, way up in the Andes. And if you measure from there, well, the Amazon suddenly becomes way longer than the Nile. So yeah, that debate, it is definitely not over.
And believe it or not, the river's identity crisis doesn't even stop at its length. I mean, for a huge stretch in Brazil, people don't even call it the Amazon. They call it the Solimões. That is, until it meets the dark waters of the Rio Negro. And because they have different temperatures, speeds, and densities, they flow right next to each other in the same riverbed for kilometers, but they just don't mix. It's like two different worlds. It's only after they finally give in and merge that Brazilians start calling it the Amazon.
Now, all that power we talked about, it doesn't just stay in the river. Nope, it pushes way out into the ocean. But here's the crazy part. Sometimes the ocean fights back, hard enough to make the Amazon run backwards.
Yeah, the Amazon doesn't just stop where the land does. It pumps out so much fresh water that it actually changes the saltiness of the Atlantic for hundreds of kilometers. This is wild. For centuries, sailors would report that they could scoop up fresh, drinkable water right out of the ocean, long after they'd lost sight of land.
But the ocean has this incredible trick up its sleeve. A couple of times a year, the Atlantic pushes back with a massive wave called the Pororoca. This thing can be 4 meters high, and it's so powerful it literally shoves the Amazon's current backward for kilometers and kilometers. And get this, surfers actually travel from all over the world just to ride this insane wave upstream.
Okay, so the river today is incredible, but its past? That's where things get really mysterious. We're talking echoes of a lost world filled with giants and entire civilizations that just vanished.
So let's rewind. Millions and millions of years ago, South America and Africa were one big supercontinent, Gondwana. And back then, the Amazon flowed the other way, west. It wasn't until the Andes Mountains shot up that the river got blocked, turned around, and started flowing east. And this ancient world, well, it was home to some absolute monsters.
We think of the anaconda as the big boss of the Amazon today, right? Well, it would have looked like a garden snake compared to its ancestor. Fossils found in a coal mine in Colombia, they revealed Titanoboa. We're talking a 15-meter-long snake that weighed more than a ton. This thing was so big it hunted giant crocodiles for a snack.
But the lost history isn't all about giant snakes.
For the longest time, everyone assumed the jungle was just too tough for big civilizations to survive. Well, that whole idea has been completely shattered. Thanks to this amazing LiDAR technology that can see through the trees, we found the ruins of the Khazarapa culture. These weren't small settlements. They built huge pyramids, dug canals, and created a whole network of roads. They were there for centuries, and then, around 1400 AD, they just disappeared.
But out of all these secrets, the biggest, the most mind-bending one was only discovered about a decade ago. It's the thing that proves the Amazon isn't just one river, it's two.
So what could possibly be hiding 4 kilometers, that's almost 2.5 miles, straight down, buried beneath the world's mightiest river?
The answer? The Rio Hamza. It was found back in 2011, and it's not a river like you'd imagine. It's this huge, super slow-moving flow of groundwater seeping through the rock. But here's the thing. It follows the exact same path as the Amazon right above it.
And this is where it gets really weird. When you put them side by side, the Amazon is way, way wider than the Amazon. We're talking up to 400 kilometers across. But it moves at a snail's pace, literally just millimeters a second. So how did they find it? They were looking at temperature data from over 200 old oil wells and noticed this strange cooling pattern deep underground. The only explanation? A massive body of hidden water was flowing down there, like a ghost river.
So, when you put all of this together, the scale, the history, the hidden depths, you start to realize the Amazon isn't someplace we've got all figured out. It's a massive mystery we're only just starting to unravel.
I mean, think about it. We've just talked about a river that can't even decide how long it is. A river that literally fights with the ocean. A river that's hiding lost cities and monster snakes. And to top it all off, it has a secret twin flowing in total darkness right underneath it.
And that really brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? After everything we found, from Titanoboa to the Rio Hamza, it really feels like we've barely scratched the surface. So you have to wonder, what other incredible secrets are still down there, waiting to be found, hidden deep in the river and the jumble?